So this question is a diagram question. Really, any question that provides some visual input, I'm going to call a diagram question. What we have here is a table. Our left column here is a response type. We have strongly favor, somewhat oppose, and strongly oppose. Our right column here is frequency. We have our numbers here that we can see. The question goes on to say, a researcher interviewed 411, always pay attention to quantities provided, 411 randomly selected U.S. residents and asked about their views on the use of nuclear energy. The table above summarizes the responses of the interviewees. If the population of the United States was 300 million when the survey was given, based on the sample data for the 411 U.S. residents, what is the best estimate in millions of the difference between the number of residents who somewhat favor or strongly favor the use of nuclear energy and the number of those who somewhat oppose or strongly oppose it? So I need to figure out, so I have two groups, right? I have the strongly favor or somewhat favor group. I have these numbers based upon the number of folks that were interviewed, 411. So for those two groups together, that would be 56 plus 214, which is 270 out of the 411. I have this other group down here, somewhat oppose and strongly oppose, and that would be together 141 out of 411. Now, what I care about is how does this translate to the number of folks in the entire U.S. population, right? So given that we have 300 million people. So to do that, I'm going to create a proportion. I'm going to say, well, I know I have 270 out of 411. I don't know how many I have out of 300 million. I'll just say 300 M for million. And the same thing down here. I know I have 141 out of 411 for this group here, but I don't know how many, I'll call this one Y, I have out of the 300 million. Okay. All right. So then let's solve. How do we solve a proportion? Well, we cross multiply. So this would give me 411x is equal to, just go to my calculator and type all that in, 300 million times 270. And what I get is basically 81 billion. So I just say 81, big B for billion. I then divide both sides by 411 in my calculator. And what I get there is that x is equal to 100. And again, we're doing in the millions. So it's basically 197 million. So 197. Again, so in the millions, we know that this 197 number really means 197 million. Okay. Let's do the same thing for my second group. So we cross multiply. I get 411y equals 300 million times 141. So let's do that math in the calculator. 300 million times 141. And for that, I get 42.3 billion. Again, I'm going to divide both sides by 411. So divide that 42.3 billion by 411. And rounding that, I get basically 103 million. So y equals 103 million. I get like 102,919,000, right? So we're rounding. It does say that, right? Round your answer to the nearest whole number. So then I'm just looking for the difference between x and y, right? So 197, just write it over here. 197 minus 103 is 94. So our answer is 94.